Belfords area. We want to renew the housing stock. Even in my area, whereas I have a housing project, we now have to focus on renewing the dilapidated housing stock, in Grace Farm and so on. And let's face it, what has happened to our people is that most of our population, they're now living in suburban areas and even in some rural areas with their beautiful homes. And the old properties that they would have inherited, they're now renting them primarily to immigrants. Now, what we want to do, and I've asked Minister Nicholas to sit down with a few of those homeowners in this area. In fact, if you can find 20 of them right now who would like to rebuild their properties and pay the $800 a month, we will do it. Now, understand another point here that I want our people to understand. Harold says that he's going to do the rent to own. Let's assume he does 1,000 homes. Minister Nicholas said that, look, when we did the survey for the first set of homes, even though they're $300,000, over 300,000, we had over 7,000 applications. So you can imagine the demand for these properties, and there's not a day that we don't have dozens of people calling the office of the Prime Minister.
Let me ask a question here, Prime Minister.
Calling Chopper. So no, let me make this point.
Okay,
here.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So we have no doubt about the demand. But the point I'm making here, what we have done to make the housing a success is that we have been able to use private capital, primarily from the banks, and we have been able to leverage that capital and to subsidize the building by giving very generous concessions, and also the government takes the responsibility to build out infrastructure. So with all the duty-free concessions and so on, that's how we drive down the price of these properties. But we now have a situation which within a matter of weeks, we have a block plan that is coming on stream that will do about 10,000 blocks per day, owned by the government and people of Antigua and Barbuda. We already have a concrete plant. So what we said now, that based on the fact that we have the aggregates, we have the blocks, we have the concrete, and soon for now, we're going to start a sand mining business with Blue Ocean, in which the government owns 40%. So we believe based on those inputs, we can help to subsidize those properties, even more so than how we have subsidized those that we have done with national housing for the $200,000 and $300,000. And by bringing down the cost, we're making them more affordable. But hear this. If you do a rent to own, the government has to find all of the capital to invest. So if Harold Lovell, for example, decided that, you know what, the UPP will do 1,000 homes, which would be totally inadequate. The government will have to find $120 million. And when you look at the challenges that we're faced with as a nation, you think that any government at this time can raise $120 million in cash for housing easily? So first of all, raising the money is going to be a challenge. So if he changes the model from ownership, in which you get the banks and various financial institutions, the credit unions to provide the funding, and to use that private capital and to incentivize it to help people to get their homes, then clearly his rent to own is not going to work. So, and you have to understand, within the Labour Party, many of us have served as developers. All of us would have built at least a single property, maybe barring Minister Maria Brown, and by extension, well, she has, because we built one jointly at Jolly Harbour. So we have the experience in terms of construction. In my case, during the period of UPP in 10 years, I built over 100 homes in this country. And that is why I said to my colleagues that we could have done a successful housing project, because I did it privately. And if I could have done it as an individual, I said the government can do it. And who are they going to believe? Harold Lovell had never built a house in his life. The one that he lives in right now, he inherited it. The one I lived in before was his parents' home. Who are you going to believe? Harold Lovell had never built a home, or Gaston Brown has built over 100 homes in this country, and who would have served as a developer. So the point I'm making, we have the expertise, we have the experience, we know how to get it done. This dude that they call Harold Lovell, he's just trying to literally deprive the poor innocent people of getting a property, because he's of the view that when we empower people, that they will not vote for him. So when we go into cities, for example, and we're going to build at least 20 homes within the next few months in cities, you think that when we don't build them the homes, they're going to vote for him? So he wants to create this false sense of hope, to say that our project will not work, that our concrete properties, even the roofs will be concrete. He's trying to tell these maybe vulnerable supporters of the UPP, because I find that at the end of the day, they're not resonating with the majority of the people. You know who they're really dumbing down? Those who are following them blindly. So he's telling his UPP followers that they're going to be like Watland Dab Homes and how we are embarrassing the people of Antigua and Barbuda. A typical, as I said, con man. The conning the people in a big A1 power at all costs. But, we come on this program every Saturday, and we expose them. Let them know that, look, I mean, these guys are con people. They don't care about empowerment of our people. Just imagine, rain coming and Harold Lovell vex. What does that tell you about the man's character? He wants the people of Antigua and Barbuda to suffer, and as a consequence, to say, well, Labour Party not ready, give Harold Lovell and Alistair Thomas et al. A chance. But we don't give chances around here.
And PM, just to pick up on one point that you made, the guy is so negative, huh? The day when he came and he met you on the bridge, before he just say howdy and pass, as any smart person would have done. The man stand up there and have an argument. If he said, this was the clincher for me, he could have built a better bridge than the one that I built. No, where you got the 10 years from? You understand me, PM?
That's laughable.
No, but it really goes to the center of what the PM was talking about. The guy is so bent on being negative that he's saying the people waited on him for 10 long years to do something about the drainage problem that was there since the 70s. And he came and he promised it for 3 elections, He promised it for 3 elections. And he didn't do anything about it. Now, his opponent, the guy that wiped his face clean with it, come and fix it. He come in and say, I could have built a better bridge than that.
Gentlemen, something that I think...
Let me just reinforce. Sorry, Senator.
Yes, go ahead.
Lovell, is really a man with a, Faustian spirit. And he will sacrifice anything, anybody, in order to, achieve his outer pursuit lust for power. So he's not even thinking, boy, I have some suffering people in my constituency. I would like them to get a home. And even if you had to go to them and tell them, take the homes and vote for me.
Yeah.
No, he don't want them to get homes. That's how bad-minded man is. And as I said to you, he's a con man, a cheat, a trickster. And he's trying to trick the people from acting in their own interest. But you know what? He seems to think that because he's in opposition, that people not paying attention to his articulations. So he feels that he can do as he like. As I count him, it's a batsman wicket. But I learned in opposition, the 10 years that I spent in opposition, I learned that I had to build credibility with the people. I knew that at the day at all I deceive them or say anything to them that is not factual deliberately, that's the day that they will lose trust in me.